Judge, I think there's going to be a stipulation just for the adjudication day. We have talked to Ms. Crane. There's an issue maybe with the case plan, but we're not there yet. We prepared a case plan, but we're probably going to do some revisions to it per Ms. Crane's suggestion.
Okay, the mother, Abigail Hubler, is it Hubler?
Yes, sir. That's correct, Your Honor.
Is here with her attorney, Ms. Crane. The child's attorney and guardian ad litem, Ms. Schrock, is present. Child is 14. Is she? I don't see her with us. Does Ms. Henley Parks have audio?
She does.
The case manager, and I don't remember now who it was. The case manager had previously asked the child to be excused, due to the child's significant special needs. And I had approved that, but I didn't remember that was for this hearing. It could have been. I just can't remember who the caseworker was. Jack, can you tell me who the worker is?
I think it was DeMiso. I think I may be wrong. DeMiso took this case. We had,
Zanea McKay.
yeah, before I think it was, but I think DeMiso's taken over the case now
Okay.
from Foster.
Nia Terry and Daniel Banks were at the
15.
January preliminary protective hearing over 2.5 months ago.
Sorry, Judge, I missed that.
I said the file reflects that Nia Terry and Danielle Banks represented the department at the preliminary protective hearing 2.5 months ago.
That Ms. Banks was on the supervisor on call then, Judge, and since then, Mr. Turnipseed, I talked to him last week. He has taken over the case in this case, I think, and
Where's he?
Ms. Hindley Parks, are you there?
She's on the screen, but she hasn't answered. I've asked her before if she was the manager, who that.
I think so. Yep, I think so, Judge, and she is muted right now. Kathy, could you call her and get her on the phone, or call DeMiso and see if you can get them on the phone? And I think you're right, Ms. Rock. They asked to have the child excused today.
Where is the child placed? Because a previous placement was referenced at the preliminary protective hearing and it was no longer available. So where is she placed?
My understanding is she's in a CPA foster home through Child Time.
She's in a what?
A CPA foster home
Okay.
through Child Time.
Yes, that's my understanding too of what I heard earlier. There she is.
There's who?
Ms. Parks Henley is no longer muted.
She's not muted, but we can't see her and I can't hear her if she's talking. I have more trouble with your people on Zoom with more trouble than parents or anybody else. Their speakers don't work. I can't hear them. Their reception is not good.
Sounds like the department needs more money, I guess.
No, they just need to start coming in person and we don't have to worry about Zoom.
You know, we were there today, earlier.
Yep, I was here. I remember, I don't remember seeing you this morning.
No, I was
You were in
with,
Judge Brown's court. Okay.
I was in Judge Brown's courtroom. That's
That's why I
correct.
didn't see you.
Yep,
I had a case with Mr. Skowronek this morning.
yep. Saw that on the calendar too. Give compliments to the clerks. They send out the calendars religiously, even if we're not on it. They send it to us, and we appreciate that. So we know where everybody is.
Well, they've wanted to keep doing Zoom and I've tried to accommodate them. And
Well, definitely, if the clerks want to do Zoom, we're okay with that.
they're the best clerk's office in Henry County.
That's right. They're definitely the best juvenile court clerks in Henry County. That's for sure. Kathy, did you find anybody?
DeMiso did not answer and his voicemail was full. I have sent him a text.
Okay. Can you get Ms. Henley Parks by chance and see what's going on with her? Her mic doesn't work. She may have to call in, I guess, on her phone.
Yes, sir.
Looks like she's trying to talk, Judge. It lights up, the screen lights up around it like she's trying to say something, but
Well, you've got a different screen than mine because mine does not do that. I can tell no difference other
Yeah,
than
there's actually a yellow box around the outside the picture when
you
somebody
must have a
tries
more
to talk.
advanced computer than I have then, because I don't get that.
Well, it's not the newest one, but it does pretty good.
You have the St. Simon's version.
I wish I was there at the St. Simon's version. Unfortunately, I'm at the Fayetteville version right now.
Your tax accountant told you had to be there some days or you couldn't count all those expenses.
I wish.
Well, I don't know what we're doing.
Well, I think we're trying to get in touch with Miss Emily Parks.
Well, I know we're not doing anything about this case because we have people who are supposed to be here who aren't here.
Your Honor, I can help you out with that and we can get done.
Well, we don't have who we need to talk to right this second, so you talk and see.
Okay. So after discussing everything with Ms. Hubler and explaining that this is an adjudication, we are here today because Ms. Hubler had a failure to appear warrant. The PPH addressed that. That is the sole reason for the child having come into care. There was a failure to appear. A warrant was issued she was not aware of. So when they picked her up on that, there was nowhere for the child to go. As part of her clearing up the failure to appear and the issues that stemmed from, Ms. Hubler has entered a program at the Potter's House, which is out there with Rock Springs Church in Lamar County. Potter's House has sent some communications that have been shared with the department. They will be providing Ms. Hubler with similar services to what the department would provide through a case plan so that she can clear up the failure to appear, the charge that the failure to appear stemmed from. And we have discussed with the department developing a case plan because we will be stipulating today as to dependency in as far as the child is dependent, because at the time that Ms. Hubler got picked up on the failure to appear, she couldn't be home to care for the child. That is the entire basis that we are stipulating to. So the child was out without proper parental care and control. We're going to stipulate to that, and we're getting the department and the Potter's House to work together. And we're also discussing the options for a case plan. Talk to Mr. Overman about that. And we're going to work together to see what services Ms. Hubler is already going to have in place, which is going to relieve some of the burden on the department as long as they're comparable. And then we're going to get that all worked out before the next hearing.
Well, how did a voluntary kinship end up in early January? Was that before or after the failure to appear?
To my knowledge, Ms. Hubler does. Okay, so this is the one where the Ms. Hubler found out that they were going to have the failure to appear. The warrant was going to be served. The child was at school. There was a teacher who was the child's teacher formerly, who agreed to take the child to get that cleared up. But Ms. Hubler was held for longer than she thought she would be. The teacher, because of the child's profound special needs, was not able to continue to care for the child. And because Ms. Hubler does not have any family or friends, we have cooperated with the department trying to identify someone, but there just is no one, unfortunately, in this case. So when the teacher could no longer care for Gabriella, she had to go into a foster placement.
Okay.
You're on mute, Jack.
But other than the dependency with respect to not being able to meet the child's special needs resulted solely from her incarceration, not from any her leaving the child unattended or going off and doing something, anything like that.
That's correct,
No,
Judge. And Potter's House is providing services. I think there was service, substance abuse, all the stuff that we would normally do. Potter's House is actually working with her on that. That's why Ms. Crane and I are going to work on the case plan to make sure what Potter's House does not provide, we will provide.
Ms. Henley Parks, where is Mr. Turnipseed?
She's on.
Oh, she's muted again.
There she is.
You're not in a moving car, I hope. We can't hear you.
I think her mic does not work, Judge.
I think she's in a moving vehicle, and she cannot be in a moving vehicle.
No. I think if you'll unmute it again, maybe it'll work, Ms. Parks.
I have her on my cell phone on speakerphone. Go ahead, Miss Henley Parks.
I was saying that Mr. Turnipseed is at jury duty, so I'll be asking questions for the department
He's
Are
right.
Are you in a parked vehicle, Ms. Henley Parks?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a stipulation, but you want more time to work out a case plan?
That's correct. This isn't a 30-day case plan, Judge. It's
This
Yeah,
is the
but-
adjudication.
The
Just
adjudication should have happened 2 months ago, so you ought to have the whole thing ready.
And we
Well,
have,
yes.
I'm sorry, we have actually worked the case, we have developed the case plan, but Ms. Crane and I want to go through it. Ms. Crane has some objections to it. We've actually done that already. The issue was with the teacher having the child, we had hoped we wouldn't have to have the adjudication hearing. We thought it would have worked out, but it did not. So therefore, we ended up having to take the child in foster care.
What happened what happened to the filing deadline after you took the child into care? You didn't ever file your petition for like forever.
No, we didn't. We, as I say, we had hoped we could find another fictive kin or something like that, so we wouldn't end up having to take the child in foster care. That's what we were working on. And you know, we'll stipulate that we did not meet the petition filing deadline, Judge. We did not do that. But you know, our cause was to try to keep the child from coming into foster care, and it did not work out. And I think Ms. Crane's aware of that, and she's ready to move forward with Father's House, the visits, the whole works to try to get the child back.
So we've got a stipulated adjudication as to dependency, and you want a hearing date next week to finalize the case plan?
Whenever you can set it, Judge, Ms. Crane and I will get together.
Yes,
rather
Your
have-
Honor. And I'm sorry, Jack, just to clarify for the court, Your Honor, any objection to the case plan that's already been drafted, the department was just trying to get ahead of this since we are a little behind, and I didn't want the clock to start back over. So the case plan that was developed was without consideration for services that are already in place. And I just want to make sure that Ms. Hubler's not having to double dip in any sense, like double the therapy, double the, substance abuse assessment. Because if it's comparable and the court will accept it and the department will accept it, then I'd prefer she only do things once.
What's the placement's name again?
It's the Potter's House, and it's
Springs. Or at the Rock in
Yeah.
Lamar County?
yes,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
There
Yes.
are two or three, Judge, at different places, I think, but this is the one that she's at, the Rock.
Well,
Yes.
Rock Springs Church.
Truett Kathy used to have a group foster home at the Rock. Is it that facility or is it somewhere nearby?
It's
No.
Lamar County Rock Springs Church.
And she is currently there at that placement.
Yes, and Miss Hensley, the director, is there with her. She's the one that acts as the liaison for all of the legal things. That's who I deal with there.
Well, y'all come back one day, as soon as Jessica tells me one day next week to come back for the case plan to be finalized. Ms. Schrock and Ms. Crane are on leave next week, so it should be a very quick hearing.
Miss
Well-
Crane is available. That's fine for me. I don't want to speak for Miss Schrock, but that's
Well-
fine for me.
I'm not available next week. If we need to have the hearing next week, I could ask Ms. Miller to cover it for me potentially.
Well, all we're gonna do is hopefully rubber stamp the case plan they agreed to, and they can send it to you. Can you review something online if you're out of town?
Yeah,
And
I can do
let us know
that.
if you disagree with it.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, well, let's do it next week, because this case is so far behind, it's embarrassing.
Well, we do the case plan hearing, the disposition, and the 75-day. Can we do it all at the same time, Judge?
Sure.
Or do we do the 75-day later?
No, I'm doing it next week. I don't know if you've been doing more than you let anybody know, though, if you're ready to do the 75-day, but I'm fine with that.
Well, I think if Ms. Crane, if Mom is at the Potter's House already doing services or whatnot, we can, with the case plan saying that, and using those, if the department will accept those, anything additional would be additional, and I don't see why we can't do the 75-day at the same time.
April 1 at 9:00.
Judge,
We're going to do it on Zoom. People better be here on time with devices that we can hear them on.
can we do it
Otherwise,
later?
y'all gonna be banned to coming in person. and making an enemy, a sworn enemy of Jessica, excuse me.
9 o'clock sharp, Judge?
Yes.
Yeah, 9
Okay.
o'clock on April the 1st and a permanency plan, not until January the 6th at 8.
1 or 9?
Do what? Somebody asked a question. I can't.
Was it, what time was it, Your Honor? This is Lisa
April-
Hanson with the boss.
April 1 at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got you on speaker again. They can hear you, Miss Henley Parks.
Y'all want to come in person or do you want to come on Zoom?
Judge, as long as it's 9 o'clock sharp, I can do Zoom, but I cannot do, I will actually be out for Easter Monday, but I can do Zoom.
What's Easter? Nobody gets Easter Monday. We get Friday, Good Friday off. We don't get Monday off.
Miss Henley Parks can't do April 1st either, she's saying.
Well, then Mr. Turnipseed needs to be here. He won't be on jury duty next week.
Yes, he'll be here.
That's good. We can do it on Zoom, Judge. I'll do it on Zoom. That's fine.
You're too kind. All right. I don't want to get here at 9 o'clock and nobody has a copy of this case plan that y'all are supposed to be ironing out. So please iron it out and send it to Ms. Schrock and send a copy over here when you get it ironed out. I don't need a rough draft that gets changed. Just send me the final deal.
We will do that, Judge.
Today is Monday, so you got plenty of time.
That's right. You gave us a week. You said next week, so it's the first of next week.
Ms. Hubler, you understand what we're doing?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right. You stay in touch with Ms. Crane.
Yes, Your Honor, I will.
Thank you.
She'll-
And Jack,
She'll
I'll
take
be in
good care
touch.
of you.
I'll be in touch with the Potter's House, Jack, and I'll try to get a more detailed list of services so that we
That's
can
great.
incorporate and we'll make it easy.
We'll
Okay.
make it, and anything extra we require, we'll take care of.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see y'all next Monday.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Judge.
Honor.
Did you make the appropriate findings? You probably did, and I didn't hear it.
I accepted the stipulation and adjudicated the child dependent. I don't know that I said anything. I'm
I don't think you did. I think
frustrated with trying to find people that are supposed to be here.
it's the normal
and I just
reasonable
did.
efforts.
Well, you definitely didn't make reasonable efforts by not filing your timely petition. So I'm going to reserve issue of that. See if that interferes with anything or not. I'll have to wait and see. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Child's mother, Abigail Hubler, is here with her attorney, Ms. Crane. Attorney for defects, Mr. Overman is here. The case manager, Mr. Turnipseed, is here. Miss Whaley with Mr. Overman's office is with us. I just noticed we don't have Miss Schrock here.
Judge, I spoke to her the end of last week, and I spoke to Mr. Turnipseed and Ms. Crane about the case plan and the plans for the case plan. And she was in agreement that she said to make an announcement that if she's not here, she's in South America, that she would agree to whatever.
You've got something going on. I can't understand half of what you're saying. There's feedback coming in when you're talking.
How about now, Judge?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ms. Rock is in South America and she had leave, and we talked to her after I talked to Ms. Crane and I talked to her and Mr. Turnipseed. And the case plan, of course, the original case plan did not include what was being done at Potter's House to take off of it, or at least to do an addendum for that. And she agreed with the case plan with whatever Potter's House didn't do. Sounds like Potter's House is going to do it all for us. But it'll be part of the case plan as long as mom continues the program at Potter's House. She's in agreement and agrees with the case plan that we originally submitted. But basically Potter's House is doing it all. That mom doesn't have to duplicate things. I think that's what Ms. Crane and I talked about. But yeah, she said she's not here, to make the report that she concurs.
I think she told us that she was on leave, but that she thought she could join us on Zoom. But I don't remember her telling us she was going to South America.
Yep, Uruguay, so I don't know that she can have it there.
She may not. All right. Any objection to her missing this hearing? And you've announced that you've discussed the contents of the plan. And what have you done? Have you revised your original plan, or have you just added an addendum to the plan providing that the services afforded by Potter's House will be in lieu of any duplication of services.
And that's what I don't know, Mr. Turnipseed, whether he actually added it to it or whether he didn't. I haven't seen it yet, but we've had an agreement that that's what will happen before we approve
Well,
it.
has the mother seen the plan? Ms. Huber, have you seen the case plan from Mr. Turnipseed?
No, Your Honor, I haven't.
It's supposed to be presented to you 7 days before this hearing, which couldn't happen because we were just here 7 days ago.
Yes, sir, that's
You're
correct.
supposed to have it in your hand before today. Why did that not happen, Mr. Turnipseed?
Sir, I was not the original case manager when this case plan was developed. I took over just towards the end of last month and met Ms. Huber and her daughter in the last month when the case plan had already been developed. I did add, as far as including what she's doing at Potter's house to the case plan, so she does not have to duplicate any services. At this time, I locked out of her computer. She was not able to approve the case plan, and the department was out, I believe, on Good Friday, and I wasn't present because I had jury duty that day.
Well, I mean, that's what we're here for, is the case plan, and we don't have a case plan. It's no, apparently nobody's seen it. Ms. Huber, and that's most important, she needs to have seen it. Ms. Crane, have you seen it?
From what I was told, I believe the original case plan that was submitted needed an update to show what mom was not going to have to duplicate.
Yeah, that was discussed at the last hearing on the 25th, but we didn't have a case plan then. At least nobody told us we did. And Ms. Huber says nobody has presented it to her. So where is it? Who was the previous case? I don't have anybody else but your name on my phone. Who was the case manager before you?
It was Miss McKay.
Miss who?
Miss McKay.
I don't even know who that is. I've never heard of her.
And Allison, I'm not going to speak for you, but I know we talked about it, and I think you had seen the case plan, or maybe you hadn't, but you just didn't want her to have to duplicate. Is that correct? You're muted. Sorry.
I don't want Ms. Hoover to have to duplicate, but I would like to see a case plan before I speak for her to say that I agree with what's in there.
I mean, this has been going on since January. And y'all took way too much time to file your petition so that everything's behind the 8 ball as far as timing. We're having to sit here and do a 75-day review of a case plan nobody has seen. So how can we possibly do a 75-day review of what progress she's made? Hopefully she's made some progress on whatever's at Potter's house, and that will
Yes, she has, Your Honor.
I beg your pardon?
She has, Your Honor. I'm Lisa Hensley. I'm the director, and she has
That's
made
great.
a lot of progress.
But we need to be able to check off the boxes in the case plan of the things that she's done, and we don't have a case plan. That's not your concern in terms of you don't have anything to do with that. DFAX does. And I'm sorry it had to pass from one to the other, but the agency is still responsible whether there have been 10 case managers. And the fact that it happened, part of it happened to fall the week of Easter shouldn't matter. And why did you say they couldn't even print it? What did you say was wrong with the computer?
My supervisor is locked out of her computer. So I'm waiting for her to get logged back in. Unless someone comes in this morning, I can send it to another supervisor to approve.
So you have it in your computer.
Yes, it's just until it's actually approved, I can't print it out and send it to anyone. So if you'd like me to, I
Who
can.
is your supervisor?
Miss Hemant Parks. She's locked out of her computer.
She was on the last hearing, Judge.
That was because Mr. Turnipseed was at jury duty.
That's correct. And my understanding is, unfortunately, everybody's on the same page. Everybody's agreed to it. The problem is we don't have a system case
This
plan.
government, how can people agree to something they haven't seen?
I'm sorry, Judge.
They've agreed in principle.
Okay, I
that-
apologize. No, what I was talking about, everybody in the department understands and has agreed to it.
Well,
As far as the supervisor approving it, there's a case plan. Unfortunately, it has not been, and I apologize. I thought Ms. Crane had seen it and said she didn't want to have to duplicate services. Maybe not. But if not,
nobody's seen it, apparently. It doesn't matter if 10 people at DFAX have seen it if the most important party is the parent.
I understand.
And
I understand. And as I say, the issue is everybody's on the same page. Unfortunately, Ms. Huber and evidently Ms. Crane hadn't seen the original case plan, which I thought she did, and I apologize for that.
I saw the original, but I cannot speak on behalf of my client to say that I approved a case plan that the department was going to edit. I don't want to speak to that until we've seen the edited one. We saw the original one. That's the one.
Oh, I understand. I thought that's why we said we were going to change things around because of options, et cetera. So
Where's Ms. Henley Parks?
I don't believe she's going to be in today. Give me 1 second.
She's what?
I don't believe she's going to be in today, sir. Give me 1 second.
Well, how about another supervisor? Can't get them to sign off on it so we can deal with this today. I don't want to wait and have to reset this. I mean, this case is behind the 8 ball because y'all didn't do what you were supposed to do about filing the petition on time. Tell you what, we're going to take a recess until 9:45. I'm sorry, Ms. Hubler, Ms. Crane, but Mr. Turnipseed, you find another supervisor. If it's your director or somebody, you get it approved and you send it to us, and we're going to reconvene at 9:45 so we can review the case plan.
Will do.
All right. Hold on just a second before you, Ms. Jessica. Can we get back in on the same?
As long as you don't end the meeting, you can leave, but don't end.
Okay.
They'll be able to log back in, or they can just mute their mics and shut off their cameras.
Jessica's telling me to just us all mute our mics and shut off our cameras until we come back at 9:45, so we don't run the risk of having to issue new access codes to get back in.
and that's fine, Judge. And unfortunately, I am not in town. I think I discussed that. That's why I wanted to make sure the hearing started at 9. Not your issue, not my issue. It's the department's issue, I know. But we will go from there, and I may have to be on my phone at 10 o'clock. I mean, at 9:45 to make sure we don't get cut off at 10.
Okay. All right. I'll see y'all back then. Thank you. What do you have you want to talk about?
Okay, so in task number 1, which is on page 3, says that Ms. Hubler will complete inpatient treatment at Potter's house, and any tasks completed during her treatment will count as credit towards her case plan. We specifically provided on Thursday a list of the services that are being given to Ms. Hubler. That leaves a pretty big loophole there as to what is going to count as credit and what isn't. Number 2, Ms. Hubler, with the help of DFACS and Georgia Psychological, will complete a psychological evaluation. There is nothing in the petition or discussed at the PPH that would indicate any sort of mental health history or mental health needs that impacted the child and led to dependency. And Ms. Hubler, based on the letter that I sent over on Thursday with the outline of the services from Potter's house, Ms. Hubler has access to JBOC Ministries and will be participating in individual counseling as part of her program. The need for a psychological, we're going to disagree with. There was no basis for dependency based in any kind of psychological issue. Then it says she's going to complete parental fitness and follow the recommendations. She's already in parenting courses. Parenting and a parenting certification is part of the program details that I sent over on Thursday. Substance abuse assessment. I think we're beyond the time for a substance abuse assessment. She's already in a program that specifically deals with substance abuse and has already started that program. The housing is fine. The income is fine. We also take issue with the fact that it repeatedly states where it talks about barriers to visitation. Mom is incarcerated, presenting a barrier to visitation. She's not incarcerated. She's enrolled in a program. There is no barrier to visitation because they're able to facilitate that. It says that the reason that the child cannot be adequately and safely protected in the home and any future harm, it says because the child was at imminent risk due to mom's substance abuse, history of substance abuse. Substance abuse was not the basis of the removal. It was a failure to appear warrant. That was the basis for the dependency. And if we have substance abuse as a basis in a case plan, my concern is that we then impose the 12-month timeline on saying, well, you can't even talk about getting her back for 12 months because you have to have, clean screens and all this stuff. Substance abuse wasn't a basis for dependency or removal. So I think there's one section that says, well, we'll give her credit for whatever she does at the Potter's house, but then why did we provide such a specific list of the services available there if we were just going to broadly and generically say,
Okay, great, we'll give you credit. Decided by who? Based on what? Which part of the program?
What does the being in rehab at Potter's house have to do with being arrested and jailed on a failure to appear warrant?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I said, what does being in a 7th-month rehab program at Potter's house have to do with being arrested on a failure to appear warrant? Which you said
That was the
the reason.
requirement that was the requirement that her criminal defense attorney was able to get the state to agree to, as far as, I think 2-3 years ago, Ms. Hubler had a DUI and she had a failure to appear. She did not receive the summons. She had a failure to appear. So when the state came on the failure to appear, the offer from Ms. Hubler's criminal defense attorney was, look, if you want her to satisfy this and this will go away, she can go to the Potter's house and do this program. But as far as the dependency of the child, I could understand saying drugs and alcohol if that were a current issue, not 2-3 years ago, but a current issue that was impacting the child, where the child had some sort of dependency based on that. The whole reason this child is in care is because she had a failure to appear warrant and had to turn herself in for that.
Well, drug and alcohol issues couldn't be the reason why she failed to appear?
No, Your Honor, it's not, actually, because the summons was sent to an address that Ms. Hubler did not live at and never had lived at. She contacted the court. She kept up with the court. The court in Spalding County said, don't call us, we'll call you. We'll let you know when to show up. And then when the summons was issued, it was issued to an address she'd never lived at.
Judge, may I be heard?
Sure.
The issue we have is that she's in a program at Potter's house because of, whether it's failure to appear or otherwise, the courts there felt like, and we agree, that there should have been some kind of treatment at Potter's house, which included substance abuse, et cetera, et cetera. That's what she's doing. I think we're arguing semantics. I understand where Ms. Crane is going, but if she completes the program at Potter's house, which I assume, and I shouldn't assume because I apologize, I'm on vacation and I should have been there instead. It appears that that's one of the requirements. If she fails that requirement, she goes back and it's the same thing. So I think we're arguing semantics. I understand Ms. Crane's argument, but I certainly think that should be included in some kind of case plan, that she has to complete Potter's house. She's got all those requirements at Potter's house. And that's why it's standard for us to do psychologicals, et cetera, to see what is necessary to help mom get her child back. If Ms. Crane wants to argue that, that is fine, but we still feel that that's important in the case plan to make sure that that is all done. It sounds like Potter's house is providing most of it. My understanding was that the issue was that we didn't want to duplicate services, which of course we're not going to duplicate services if she finishes the Potter's house. And I certainly hope that she finishes the Potter's house. My understanding is also there will be a step down where the child can be back with her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we think that certainly the case plan is appropriate. If the court wants to modify it, that is certainly okay. But we certainly think that since Potter's house provides the services, our position would be that the state, in the criminal matter, expected her to complete that, which included all these services. So we're just trying to help. But if that's what we want to argue with, then so be it. But I think it's appropriate and the case plan's appropriate. Whether the wording needs to be changed accordingly, however the court wants to proceed with that, that is fine with us. That would be our argument, Judge.
And Your Honor, I am in no way saying that Ms. Hubler should not complete the Potter's house program. My issue is that the code is clear. Yes, the court can look at past defects history, past history. The court can consider what may happen in the future. But dependency is a present sense dependency. This is like saying, well, years ago you did this, so that's now the basis of the dependency on the day that your child was taken into care. No, it was not. Ms. Hubler was not intoxicated, was not drunk, was not in the process of receiving a DUI on the day her child was taken into care. The child had no impact based on, well, mom was drunk and so child was out wandering around or doing whatever. No, she was not. Mom had just taken her to school and found out that she had a failure to appear.
Where's where is the Potter's house located?
Rock Springs, near Rock Springs, Lamar County, I believe.
Lamar?
Yes, sir.
Is the mother allowed to leave that facility?
They transport her, so the Potter's house, she can't just come and go as she pleases. It is a program where she is committed to stay there and finish their program. And the Potter's house provides transportation, like to the department for her visitation and things like that.
That's what I wanted to find out if.
Yes.
The visitation is twice a week, proposed twice a week at defects office. Is that workable for her?
After 90 days, Your Honor.
After 90 days, sir,
What happens in the 90 days?
we will be able to physically transport her. Right now, we're just trying to get her settled. We can do virtual visitation twice a week, as long as it works around her groups and so forth. And then after 90 days, we will do our best to get her to her visitation physically.
She has to visit, and she has to visit in person.
Yes, sir.
So,
But we can't do it until 90 days.
okay, well then, do you have facilities where at this place where the child can be brought to her?
No, sir, we'll have to go there because due to the other clients in the home, and they have a daily routine of groups.
Okay. Well, she
In
can't
order not
wait
to
90
interrupt.
days to start visits, and virtual is not acceptable. So, her visits start this week. And,
Well, do they have someone that can come and get her? Because I have to get it approved with my superior.
yeah, they can provide transportation.
How many days has Ms. Hubler been in the program? Ms. Hensley?
days. 33 days.
Because we're talking about not 90 days from today. Okay.
So she hasn't seen her child in a month already?
She's been doing virtual visits, Your Honor.
She's done a virtual.
I'm not real big on virtual visits, especially this child is impaired, isn't he? Isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Yes. And Judge, even though we're not big on virtual, I certainly think that is the option for her to complete the program, because that's the most important thing. Visitations are certainly important, but that's basically a little less than 60 days, as long as she can continue to do virtual until that time, and then she can actually visit with child up to the court.
I'll let her do one virtual a week, but she's got to have one live visit a week. And y'all have to arrange for it. Y'all can go pick her up with the child and take them to, well, I don't know where there's a fast food, McDonald's in Barnesville. I can't remember seeing a McDonald's. There used to be a Pizza Hut there years ago, but, surely they must have a fast food place out on that bypass, but I don't know. Y'all figure it out. What's the name of the lady that works at the Potter's house? What was your name, ma'am?
Lisa Hensley.
Ms. Hensley?
Yes, sir.
Have y'all administered any type of psychological evaluation?
Not at this point. Not at this point.
Okay. How about a drug and alcohol assessment? Did you do that to determine the scope and level of treatment that she needed?
When she came into the program through Spalding County, it was evident that she needed help. She needed help.
Okay, but so did she have an assessment?
No, sir.
Okay. They just told her to go to your place for 7 months?
Yes, sir. We are a ministry program that helps women of addiction.
Okay. Well, what did she identify as her drug of addiction?
Alcohol.
Okay. Do y'all screen her for use on the slide
sir.
while she's in your program?
We will. We have not done it so far because she's only been here 33 days and she has not left our site. It is a residential program, and they can't leave and go anywhere by themselves.
But
there's always a staff on duty.
There's never been anyone to smuggle any in?
No, sir.
Well, you'd be the only one in the state, I bet.
Well, we're with them 24/7. There's somebody there, and there's no. We're in the country. There's nowhere for them to smuggle alcohol in.
All right. But she needs to be screened.
Will defects help? We can take her to Choice Labs. They're in Griffin. Is defects willing to help us with that?
Yes, if y'all don't screen them, they're going to have to screen her.
Right.
But alcohol is tough. You got to screen for it fairly frequently because it doesn't stay in your system very long. And she didn't identify any other drugs of choice?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, she needs generic urine screens periodic, but she needs screens that specifically identify alcohol, and those oftentimes are mouth swabs that anyway, just Mr. Turnipseed, y'all are responsible for getting those done since it sounds like they're not screening her. Okay? You have to
We will do that, Judge.
Your Honor, if you could offer clarification, is the department going to pick up Gabriella and then pick up Miss Hubler once a week to have a visit?
If that's the only, the lady said they couldn't meet there, so they're going to have to pick her up and take the mother somewhere or meet the mother somewhere.
And the transporter will supervise? I don't want there to be any allegations that...
No, the transporter will supervise, yes.
Okay.
All the
Okay,
visits
so-
will be supervised, even the virtual, somebody needs to be observing the virtual.
All right, so Judge, I'll have to call around to see. I don't know how many providers we have that actually transport parents. And when it comes to Gabrielle, we're gonna have to see if they have two providers available because due to her being nonverbal,
Okay,
we gotta have two people in the car. So I have to find out who can accommodate that.
Your Honor, can I ask Mr. Turnipseed a question, please?
sure.
Mr. Turnipseed, the way that the department schedules visits, are weekends an option? Are evenings an option? What are the parameters and the limitations on that?
So I basically contact providers to see who has availability. Of course, when it comes to her in school, we don't want to interrupt her. We don't want to interrupt school for visits. So more than likely, it'll be after school, and if we have someone available for the weekends, we'll try to schedule it during the weekends as well.
Okay, so weekends would be an option potentially?
Correct, if that provider has the availability.
And after 4 is good for us, Miss Crane. After 4 o'clock is the her last group. Monday through Friday after 4. Wednesday afternoons are open, and so are Friday afternoons, preferably. Sometimes we have events, a lot of times where we have events scheduled, and she will have to be a part of that. So if there's any way that Mr. Turnipseed and I, with these visitations, can coordinate instead of setting a one-time deal.
Kenzie, just outlining that, and I'll pass that along to the provider as well, if they're able to transport mom, because they'll have to reach out to you guys anyway to confirm the visit.
Mr. Turnipseed, and Your Honor, the reason that I'm asking is we're only talking about a period of 60 days. This would be 1 visit a week for the next 2 months. Essentially, there is a possibility that I can transport Ms. Hubler if the program will allow it. If the department is unable to transport the parent, I don't mind giving Ms. Hubler a ride if we can work that out with everyone's schedule.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was 1 face-to-face and then 3 virtuals.
Well, that's what I'm saying is she'll have virtual, but he's saying there's 2 visits per week in the case plan. One of them has to be in person is what the court's saying. And so there is a possibility that between you and I, that I may be able to get her to some of those if the department can coordinate with me also.
Okay.
Because after the 90 days, Mr. Turnipseed, then the facility would be more able to help with the transporting. It's just short term.
Okay. That's no problem.
I'm gonna, take the, parental fitness and substance abuse assessments. I will defer them to further consideration depending on results of drug screens, progress in the program, how the visits progress. She will have to submit to a psychological evaluation and follow any recommendations. And that is as a psych eval is arranged by DFACS. The parenting education for now, I will defer that and see kind of training she gets there and how she progresses with visits, et cetera. And that may ultimately go away, or it may be reactivated as the other ones. I think that takes care of the questions you had.
And Your Honor, just to clarify, there is a certificate program in the parenting training that Ms. Hubler will complete. She will receive certificate.
Okay. All right, that's why I deferred that.
Yes, Your Honor.
See how that is. Okay.
Thank you, Judge. Is there anything else, Allison?
No, Jack. If you don't mind allowing Mr. Turnipseed to email me and coordinate with that, we'll copy you, but it will just be for the limited purpose of trying to coordinate if I'm going to transport Ms. Hubler.
I have no objection to that.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify, so we are moving forward with the site, but we're holding off on the substance abuse assessment around fitness.
Yes. So I've approved it as I've modified it, and as the I think it already takes into account the giving her credit for the services she receives at Potter's house. And this is going to take some coordination and cooperation amongst a lot of people. So everybody, and it sounds like you're going to have a pretty busy schedule there at the Potter's house, Ms. Hubler. So it's incumbent on you to make sure Mr. Turnipseed knows. I mean, it's fine for Ms. Henley to be communicating with him as well, but it's your responsibility ultimately so that they know your schedule. They don't need to be scheduling a visit on top of some important class you have. And it sounds like some of your schedule at the Potter's house may not be the same every week. But I think it's important with your child's special needs that you have some live contact with her. Not as much as I would want, but at least some, until hopefully the 90 days passes, the rest of the 90 days, so that you can start having visits, all of them live and in person.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
We continued the 75-day, or set it for today, which I don't know that there's a whole lot to review because she just got her case plan approved today.
Your Honor, Ms. Hubler could give a brief rundown of what she's done in the last
Sure,
30
that's what I was going to
days.
say. I'm going to let her tell me that. Since it's crediting toward the case plan that she didn't officially have yet. So tell me what you've done.
Well, so far I've been getting counseling, and I've learned self-discipline from doing a daily routine and schedule. We're getting all of our different assignments in the house. I've been put into the kitchen where every single day I'm getting up and preparing meals for all of the girls in the home and doing a weekly menu, things like that, working together as a team. So there's a lot of building accountability as well. And then just a lot of self-reflection. And
how many residents are at your program?
Right now there's 9.
None or 9?
9.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say none.
Our facility holds 12 women.
Okay.
We used to have anywhere from 20 to 25, but after COVID, we decided to just have 12.
Okay.
But they do have a daily routine, Your Honor.
Do you pay out of pocket to be in that facility, Ms. Hubler?
No, Your Honor.
She has a sponsorship ad.
Okay.
That's
And
why I
Your-
was hoping that DPACS would help with the transport, because with 10 to 12 women, and there are several that have DPACS cases, it just becomes expensive running all the clients here and there, and we have to have a cap on it.
Sure. All right.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your Honor, also let the court and Mr. Turnipseed know, I'm scheduled to go out to the Potter's house on Wednesday when I'm back in town, and spend some time out there. We can get some more details about the schedule, because I will be going out and working with, Ms. Hubler, actually giving cooking lessons to her and the ladies out there to help in the kitchen. And so we'll be able to get a better schedule over to Mr. Turnipseed so that we can coordinate these things.
All right. As far as the 75-day review, the child remains dependent. The case plan is appropriate. We just approved it. Visitation has been ongoing voluntarily, and we've come up with a, at least for the immediate future, visitation schedule that appears appropriate, given the child's needs. Mom is making progress, even though the case plan had not been mandated at the time. She's been motivated to go on and start working on things for which she's to be commended. Does anybody contend there are any legally required services that are not being afforded the parties?
No, Your Honor.
This child is 14, but she hasn't been in care 6 months. So just in case we're still here, Mr. Turnipseed, you need to be given some thought to what would involve independent living plans for an impaired teenager, because she is 14. Because I'm not sure. It seems like I read something somewhere that she won't ever be self-sufficient. Is that right? Ms. Hubler, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor. She is nonverbal autistic with the mental mindset of about a 3-year-old in the highest levels of her recent IEP. She will never be able to live on her own.
Okay. And that's what independent living is. So I don't know. I've never run into this. So Mr. Turnipseed, you might want to talk to your superiors about what optional type program we may have to substitute for independent living, since that doesn't sound like that would be possible.
Your Honor,
We can check with the state as well.
Okay.
and Your Honor, if I may, I believe, based on my understanding of the child, Gabriella, and her level of functioning, that while she may not be able to do ILP in a traditional sense, if the department had some sort of program that would maybe focus on day-to-day and self-care, maybe bathing, toileting, choosing clothes, just things that we might gear towards a younger child, even though Gabriella is older, I think that the child would benefit from that.
Okay. We'll be glad to look into that and see. The department has made reasonable efforts, and department's not seeking to terminate, and we're the clerk's going to give me a date for us to come back and see how much more progress Ms. Hubler has made on her case plan. Now, Ms. Hubler, you haven't seen or heard of anybody at your program smuggling booze or drugs into that facility?
No, Your Honor, not at all. As Ms. Hensley previously stated, everything everything that we do, we are with our supervisor. As you see, Miss Hensley is actually right beside me now. Even our phone calls that we get to make after our 30 days, we are allowed to contact someone. That person is, and that phone conversation is had within or with a superior on speakerphone where they can overhear the conversation being had. And they also filter who we are able to contact, Your Honor. So as far as communication wise, they monitor everything. As far as food and beverages go, everything that comes in is gone through extensively. As far as our pantry and items, those are actually under lock and key from our superiors. And whenever cooking or anything, those meals are made weekly and then they go through my superior to be signed off on. So no, Your Honor, it is a very strict place to get anything in or out of. Anything that we purchase out on an event or a field trip, if you will, anything that we purchase or that is given to us has to go through them.
Okay.
And approved. So no, Your Honor, there is absolutely no drugs, no alcohol in this facility whatsoever.
Good. All right. The clerk is telling me that because of the delay in the filing of the petition and having the adjudication, we're supposed to have the next periodic review 4 months from removal, which is almost upon us. Oh, would be May 13th, which means we would have had the case plan in effect for 1 month. I guess that'll be okay. The rate Mom's going, she'll have some progress and tell us about how the visits have gone and how much more she knows how to cook.
And that will be fine.
And you had, well,
What time, May 15th, Judge?
she hadn't given it to me yet. I'm just 9 o'clock on what day?
May 13th.
May 13th, more than 4 months, isn't it?
It is, Judge,
Prior.
but that'll work.
I'm out of the office the week before, so is that okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
That's fine, Judge.
We'll waive any objection to timelines and we're fine with everything.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
If you'll prepare an order and circulate it to council, and then I will review it. And hopefully it'll be okay.
We will do that. We'll make sure they're okay with it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank y'all.
Thank
May
you,
we be excused?
Beg your pardon?
May we be excused, Your Honor?
Sure. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
Ms. Henley, thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And Hubler, keep up the good work, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, will do. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you Wednesday.
See you Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Review an initial permanency review hearing. We're conducting virtually over Zoom and it was set at 9 o'clock and we're 35 minutes late because of our YouTube connection to broadcast the case so that we have public access to the hearing since we're on Zoom. Was not wanting to cooperate, but we finally got it. No, I didn't, but Robin and Gabe got it fixed. So Ms. Schrock, the guardian ad litem attorney, Ms. Crane, who represents the mother, Ms. Hubler is here. Case manager, Mr. Turnipseed is here. Ms. Dawodu is here from CASA. Did we assign a CASA to this case? Or are you just observing? Ms. Dawodu?
I wasn't sure. I talked to Jessica on Friday and she told me that there was a case of a 17-year-old girl coming over. And I wasn't sure if this was that case, but nevertheless, I was going to observe.
Okay. I think Gabriella is 14 or 15.
14.
14. So
Okay.
I don't know whether she was talking about that and had the wrong age or not, but
I'll check with her later.
okay. She called in sick, but she's going to be in by her afternoon calendar. I'm not sure exactly when she's scheduled to come in. Mr. Turnipseed, did Mr. Overman tell you why he's not still here?
No, sir, he did not. Like I said, he was on earlier, so I don't know if when we got kicked off, he didn't notice it and didn't log back on. I'll reach out to him.
All right, this is an initial review hearing, Judge, and if it's okay, I will proffer. I think Kathy sent the report this morning. May have been before that, but I know we've got a report, updated report. I think she said she sent it this morning. I think I saw it. I know Ms. Crane had asked for recommendations of the assessment. That's actually in the report now. So I wanted to make sure the court had that.
Is that would be last Friday? I mean, that was today's day.
Yeah, the judicial review is today, or the initial review today is today.
Was the report I'm looking at the latest report?
I don't know what you're looking at, Judge. I'm sorry. I've got a defects report 513. It's got recommendations in it. Down at the bottom of the first page, recommendation, parental fitness recommendations.
What's the date that Mr. Turnipseed signed? Although this one doesn't have a signature, but
5-7 is the last.
Yeah,
I've
okay.
got here.
Well, it's in the file, Robin.
Okay. I wanted to make sure the attorney's got it. Allison, did you get it? Alyssa, did you get it?
Oh, sorry, taking myself off mute. Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Well, good. Judge, I will proffer if that's okay, and then ask Mr. Turnipseed if it's true and correct. He did provide a report. It has the parental fitness recommendations in it, which are fairly extensive. It has the psychiatric recommendations, and then it has the CCF recommendations. And Miss Kubler entered Potter's house on 2/28. The report basically states that the biological mother's been active, working on her case plan, and treatment with Potter's house. Treatment started on February 28th, of course, during the program. Biological mother has extensive will have extensive study for addiction, relapse, parental fitness, focusing on overall life changes. She will complete parental classes, parenting classes, substance abuse classes, individual therapy, gain and maintain employment, and create a prevention plan. Biological mother completed a urine and oral screens on 4/19 and 4/29. She has been very open and maintained communication with Mr. Turnipseed and department. She's expressed concerns about Gabriella self-harming, and she's been actively given advice to the placement to handle such behaviors. So it sounds like mom is doing what she needs to do at Potter's house. If the court remembers, I think this was the one where Potter's house had certain things, but the case plan had other additional things or the same things. And I think the understanding was that whatever Potter's house would provide, that she didn't have to duplicate services, and the case plan would reflect that. If there was anything additional, we would ask the court to do that. And I think that's what our agreement was last time for the case plan hearing.
Where's the child placed?
It's in a foster home, Judge, in I think it's North Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Turnip, answer that.
Yes, it's in Lithonia.
Lithonia is where the child is, Judge. And that would be my report. Mr. Turnipseed, you've been sworn in. Is that information true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything?
Is this a special needs foster home?
Yes, sir. She also has 2 other children that she's seeing after as well.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Turnipseed, concerning the report?
We have been working with the foster parents to get some of the original services that Gabriella had in place. I did reach out to her old school. We got some of the gap services back in place as far as the diapers and certain pads and things of that nature to have the things that she was already receiving. Well, to restart the things that she was already receiving. I think they were discontinued due to the fact that they weren't able to get in touch with mom or their father.
But that's been rectified now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Those items go directly to the foster home now. They were mailed to their residents prior, but now they get mailed to the foster.
Okay. And as far as schooling is concerned for the special needs child, what's going on with that?
She is enrolled in middle school where she is also in the classroom with her peers.
Okay,
that
so,
teacher and parapro is able to care for her needs. It's just a matter of the concerns that mom has. We're waiting to hear from the pediatrician about what can be done as far as the self-harming.
okay. And the child's age and what grade?
You want to tell them?
She's 14 years old, and as far as I know, she is in 7th grade,
Okay.
if you were asking me.
Just making sure it's age appropriate, but we're taking care of things, right, Mr. Turnipseed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mom. We appreciate you chiming in with that. Anything
Mr.
else?
Turnipseed, did you give the foster parent notice about the hearing?
I did send a court link.
Did she tell you she
They
could?
actually requested it again this morning because it didn't send. So they
knew-
were aware because they reached out to me this morning for the link.
So they knew
I
about
just
the
said-
hearing, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't know. I know when we got back on, I noticed Mr. Overman was not still here, but I don't know. Did anybody know? I don't know. What's the foster parent's name?
Maxine
Wilson?
Wilson.
Did anybody notice if she was on initially and then got the notice it was canceled and didn't know to come back?
I wouldn't have known, Judge, if nobody had reached out to Mr. Turnipseed hadn't reached out to me because I did get
What
that.
I'm asking is, did anybody notice her name in the list of participants at the beginning?
I wouldn't have that. I think the clerk's the only one that has that notice, Judge. I do not know.
Y'all can't see the names of the participants? Oh,
No,
okay.
we cannot see any of that, Judge.
Okay. Did you notice a name? What was her name again?
Maxine Wilson.
Did you notice a Maxine Wilson in the waiting room? I don't remember that name. I remembered Ms. Huber's name, and I remembered Ms. Schrock and Mr. Overman, and I don't know if I remember Ms. Crane being in there. I remember Ms. Duwadu in there. So, anybody have any questions for Mr. Turnipseed?
Yes, sir. I didn't, I just wanted to ask about visitation. I know Miss Hubler may not be able to physically leave Potter's house, but has the child and her mother been able to do any sort of visitation, even if it was virtual?
They did. They have been doing virtual. However, they did miss 2 when I went out on leave. I didn't realize that the Zoom link wouldn't allow them to start it, but I did have Mr. Moore fill in for me that Thursday before I returned back to work to have them complete their virtual. So they did miss 2. I believe I did put that in the court report. As far as face-to-face, I know mom has a certain amount of days that she has to be in treatment before she would be able to leave to have the face-to-face visits.
Okay, thank you.
Let's say it is, visitation is in the report and it talks about the dates virtual and what was missed. It looks like the last virtual was 5/9, which was last week.
Okay, thank you.
Alyssa, also as to visitation, I have been in contact with Miss Lisa there at the Potter's house. And as we discussed previously, transporting Miss Hubler for face-to-face visits, things like that, we are about to start coordinating that. She is coming up this month, here in another week, I think week and a half, on the period of time where she could not leave. And they are willing to allow me to transport, which is something that I had offered before. So they feel secure with allowing her to leave with me, and that she wouldn't, have any kind of exposure to anything she should not, as long as I'm there. They said there's also the possibility that there could be a volunteer who could help facilitate that, but we are moving towards that. I'm coordinating with them right now. And we're moving towards that. They've been communicating very well with Mr. Turnipseed. So we're all just working on getting that coordinated, and that's going to start.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Well, I think Defects needs to chip in and start, and they can provide some transportation. Can't you?
Transportation is going to be bringing Gabrielle to meet mom and Miss Crane.
That works for the program, Your Honor. So at this point, working within the constraints of the program rules, we're going to work it out. It's not a problem.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Turnipseed? Anybody have any questions for Ms. Hubler? We appreciate your working hard on your plan. We don't, unfortunately, always have parents so cooperative.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm working very hard, and Gabriella and my well-being are definitely my top priority. So thank you so much for being lenient and flexible while I go through this journey.
Oh, don't tell anybody I'm lenient. I'm supposed to be a hard man.
No, he's not. Believe me, he's not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may, on behalf of Ms. Hubler, just want to put some things on the record. We did request and receive the assessment information and recommendations from those assessments. We also received the court report. The Ms. Hubler, if Your Honor recalls, and if not, that's okay. I've got it here in front of me. In our final disposition 75-day order, Your Honor specifically ordered that mom, because of the program she's in, and because I argued like I always do, Your Honor ordered that mom would not be required to undergo parental fitness assessment at this time. Mom would not be required to complete a substance abuse assessment at this time, and she would not complete parenting education at this time. After that hearing, mom was sent for all of those things, and left with the that she had to comply with those things. Despite the order of the court, a parental fitness was conducted, a substance abuse was conducted. A psychological was also conducted, which the court did order. I just want to make sure moving forward that since she did participate in those and they were not required, that when we move forward, we are not incorporating any recommendations from assessments that this court specifically said were not to be done. We do have the recommendations from the psychological. Ms. Hubler begins her individual therapy today. And even though Your Honor said not complete parenting education at this time, the reason Your Honor did that is because there is a parenting education component to her program. And I believe that this past week, they provided a written letter that detailed when she would begin that. And the program begins parenting education, and it is a certificate program in the 5th month that the parent is there in the program. So she actually will be doing parenting education. We just wanted to make sure that we were all still on the same page as far as what she needs to do. But her therapeutic services begin today.
Good. All right. That works for me.
And Judge, from the department, it's not that I adamantly disagree with Ms. Crane. I know what the hearing said, and my understanding, the intent of that was, and if she did the parental fitness and she did that before, I certainly think that could help and not harm as far as holding her feet to the fire of what the parental fitness said. Certainly, I would hope that the facility at Potter's House, and I think Ms. Crane would agree, it's good to have recommendations. They have their own system and what they do. But my understanding was the intent to make sure she didn't double duty in the fact that she did that. And I don't think that was the intent of what we did. The idea was to provide more information for Potter's House to be able to show she completed the program. So if that was the intent, I misunderstood, because the idea behind it was to make sure that Potter's House did everything. We didn't have to have another therapist, another whatever anyway. So that was my understanding. If I was wrong, I apologize. But that's what we did. It wasn't anything that was intended to say, oh, no, she's got to do this or that. It's more of an intent to show what the parental fitness, what they recommended. We certainly think that that would be appropriate for her to help her. We're not going to certainly, if Potter's House disagrees, then we'll bring it back to court. But I think that was the intent. So, and yes, Ms. Crane did argue, and I remember that, and I argued back, and the court said that I think that was my understanding of the intent. So that would be our position on that.
Yes, and Attorney Overman, just so y'all know, I did forward the recommendation information to the Potter's House, along with the court report, because it was so nicely laid out and detailed, because I think it's important for Miss Lisa to be able to see what the department would be doing on their own if the Potter's House was not involved. And then that way they can make sure that their program is also incorporating what you all would see normally in a case. So she does have that information. So
and I think that's important. Yes. But thank you for doing that. Thank you.
What was the name of the foster parent again?
Maxine Wilson.
Wilson, Maxine Wilson.
Thank you. All right.
Judge, this is an initial review, so I think there are certain requirements, the findings the court has to make. It's my understanding this was the initial review. It may have been before, but in the court.
Making substantial progress under a case plan. Reasonable efforts are being made to achieve permanency. Visitation is appropriate as outlined, as describe what's already taken place and what's planned for the future. Unless somebody brings information to the contrary, there are no material portions of the case plan that have not been implemented or are not in the process of being implemented. There are no services that are legally required that have not been afforded the parent, the child, or the foster parent. And the department is not seeking or not planning to seek termination of parental rights. I'm reading between the lines about that, but so I don't know. I don't have my checklist because I'm not in my courtroom, so I'm remembering that by memory. What have I left out?
The child's still dependent?
Yes, that's correct.
The case plan's appropriate. I think you said that at this time based on Ms. Crane's.
Remains appropriate, yes.
Yes. And you're right, the department has no intent to terminate it this time. I think that covers everything.
All right.
And placement is appropriate. That was the other thing.
Yes. Anything anybody else have? Thank you, Ms. Hubler, for working so diligently. Keep it up. And the lady was with us last time. I guess she couldn't be here today from Potter's house.
No, Your Honor, the director, Lisa.
Hi, Your
Oh,
Honor.
there she is. She's hiding from us. Okay. Thank you for your efforts too. And thank you for working with Ms. Hubler. And
You're more than welcome. She's doing really good. So we appreciate all your efforts on her behalf and Gabrielle's.
all right. Well, we'll conclude the hearing and y'all take care. Okay.
Thank you.
Stay out of the heat. It's getting hot.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks.
Your Honor, Judge Bartles,
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
Alyssa speaking. Could you stay on the line about an unrelated case?
Do I have to?
I just have a quick question for you
Okay.
about an unrelated matter.
Sure. Thank you.
Judge.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you so much.